You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV.
Watch us on YouTube.
Listen on your favourite podcast platform.
Or ask your smart speaker
To play the podcast Leicester Till I Die.
Hello, good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever you are in the world. I hope you're having a fantastic one, whether it's slowly coming to an end like it is here in the UK, or you're just getting up and putting on the kettle for a morning brew and starting your day off. How are we all? This is LTID TV, or Leicester Till I Die TV in its longer name. How are you all? We are here, of course, for game weeks. Well, we're going to talk about game week 33 in the Predictions League. We're going to recap how everybody did in game weeks 31 and 32 respectively. But without further ado, let's make sure you're just doing all that wonderful stuff at the bottom. If you are new to the channel, if you are popping over to our guests channel, our ever reliable guest who's just below me down here, that's not because of his height, that's because he's backstage. It is, of course, and if you have come over from his channel, do go and hit subscribe here. And if you are here and you want to show support to Ant, in case you don't know who Ant is, here he is. This is Ant from Ant's TV channel. And tell them about your channel and why they should go over there in their floods and give you lots of support and love from here and vice versa.
Yeah, it's Ant's Leicester fan channel. Again, Leicester online community is not the biggest, so try and help everyone out who's on there, and we'll support each other, really.
Of course, that's what we do. If we do nothing, we do this together. We try and build each other's communities, and it is, of course, great. And if for some reason, for whatever reason, you wouldn't like to see our beautiful faces, and you don't want to see us on YouTube or little snippets on Twitter or YouTube Shorts, then you can, of course, find us on all your available podcast platforms. Just make sure you ask your smart speaker or Alexa or whatever it is to say, "Hey, Alexa, will you play the Leicester Till I Die podcast?" You have to say Leicester Till I Die TV podcast, because the LTID TV, it goes, "I'm sorry, I did not understand that." So make sure you say the full name if you want to listen to us and not look at our beautiful faces. I mean, Ant, we are here again for another predictions and another predictions show. You seem to fail to remember how prediction show works, because, well, leagues work, should I say, because I had to double, triple, and then quadruple check something, and it turns out you only put about 6 fixtures in like that. Like CBA to the rest of them, you just didn't need a lot of points, apparently. Are you going to be making amends for it this week?
Yes, mate, the comeback of dreams. It would be a good start if I'm going to make this comeback to actually put some predictions in.
You know what? Contrary to popular belief, and it does help your chances of getting off the bottom of the league by putting predictions in for the week commencing. But at least you're here, so everybody can witness you actually making some predictions for this week. I'm going to have to scroll up on the comment section, because some of you eager beavers, we're in here rather early. We have, I'm just going to call you Saka. Sorry, I'm not trying to pronounce names and get them wrong. Saka, you were in here at a whopping 2:45. I hope you've remembered to turn up now and come back to it, but you predicted 2-0 to the Foxes. And Callum, all the way from Ant's channel, he says, "Can you give us championship predictions tonight?" Only if you turn up now. We're live, Callum. If you're here, you can definitely do that, I assure. Total Football, he's popped in and said, "Hi, howdy, mate." And of course, Nate, who is taking part in the Predictions League, and he's actually given me predictions. And unlike you, he says, "Good evening" to Brad, and he does say later, and I paid him to say that to make you feel less left out. John, another competitor, in there. Good evening, John. Good double header for you as well, my friend. I'm not going to brag about it. I'll leave the league table. Old Ronald McDonald, who's feeling like the second clown in the show. And again, I'm not going to keep bothering on about it, but predictions in a prediction show kind of clues in the question. There you go. Nate just saying, and Steve just gets to the point. Everybody, just hello, everybody. Another competitor in there, and he says that. Hope you're well. Arthur's speaking for you. He's telling Callum he can't get his predictions in the show tonight. Scott taking the evening all approach, and then I don't know who this is to. I want to say it's me because I'm the host and he knows you, but he's saying Chris is looking younger. It's Clearasil pads, mate. You just use these twice a day, and then just shed a ton of weight and stop wearing Leicester shirts that are 10 sizes too big for you, and voila, it's the miracle cream for everybody. 2-2 tonight. That is, of course, in the kickoff tonight. The big game, and we'll talk about that in a minute. It's chasing rival Southampton away at West Brom. Bamford out till Chelsea game. Chelsea game. I don't.
He's a Leeds. Arthur's a Leeds fan.
Okay. But I just wondered with the Chelsea thing, if they've got a cup game against them. I'm assuming they're in the FA Cup against them. Kyle not. Well, are you Kyle or are you not? I mean, we can't decide. Awful joke. You've probably had that since you were born. I'm sorry. He says, hi, lads. I hope you are well. And there we are. We're all caught up with the crazy gang in the comment section down below. So, Anne, being as I've actually got you here to take your actual predictions, we're going to start with the game that was mentioned by Arthur there. We are going to, of course, talk about West Brom versus Southampton. Now, Southampton's 25-game run, unbeaten run, came to an abrupt end against Bristol City. A bit of a shock. They are at home to West Brom, who like to dig out teams and kind of cause their own upsets. They're very difficult to beat, especially at home. This one's probably not ideal for Southampton because this technically, for at least 24 hours, put some level on games played as the rest. And if they lose this, they the gap to open up goes. You've had time to think about it while I waffled on and thought of words there. I mean, where are you thinking? Where are you going with this, Ant?
I'm going to go for a Southampton win. I don't think we saw it earlier this season how difficult Hawthorns is to go to, but I think there's going to be such after how they lost their winning run against Bristol, it's going to be about how they respond. Because I think if they lose 2 in a row, then the narrative very quickly changes about Southampton of not can they catch Leicester and stay in that automatic spaces, but it's sort of like, how are they going to drop off? So it's about, I think, how they respond tonight, and I think they'll do that.
You think they'll respond? I didn't quite catch your scoreline prediction. What scoreline did you go for? I know you got
Southampton.
2-1 Southampton. Well, I can tell you this. I had a funny feeling this would be the chapter of the day because, as you know, I write down a few people's predictions. Chris is, the host of and owner of this channel. And I just decided randomly, because he was right below him and he's part of the LTID TV family, I wrote down Craig's as well. And would you believe it? We've all gone 2-1 scoreline. And we've not all gone the same, but that is 4 people's predictions written down there. We've all gone 2-1. And I tell you what, I have just seen it here to make it a fantastic 5. Callum went 5-1. So he is here watching the show. He is here to do that. Scott just promoting both channels, saying subscribe to both. Make sure you have gone, folks. Sometimes you think you have. Sometimes you think because you see a face so much, you must be subscribed. Don't worry, you can still watch us live. Just go and double check and make sure you are. John has agreed with us as well. He's gone 2-1. He's gone to Southampton to nick it. Steve's hedged his bet. He's done what I call a Chris. He's sat on the fence. And wow. Scott's gone 5. Well, Scott's not in the league, so Scott can have as much fun and be as ludicrous as he wants. But he's got 5-2 Southampton. I mean, it's not out of the realms of possibility, because some teams do answer back, and it's probably Kyle's not amused. He's hating the fact that he agrees with you. If it helps, Kyle, so am I. We're all annoyed when we have to agree with Ant, especially when I bring up the league table after this. Because the reason I didn't want to bring the league table up is because I want to make him suffer as long as possible. And also I want to make sure that the kickoff for today was done and dusted and we can talk about it a little bit. I said we've gone 2-1 all across the board in terms of what I've got written down. Obviously, John there and Steve have got, well, John's gone the same, but Steve obviously has gone different. I went 2-1 West Brom. More in hope, probably, than what it is. But you never know, D. This is a very difficult one because when a run comes to an end, it's all about the response. And, you know, Leicester have notoriously responded well. I mean, there was literally that Leeds, Middlesbrough back-to-back blip was the only time we didn't respond well to a defeat. Not had many occasions to have to respond to it, but it'd be interesting to see how Southampton away respond to it. I don't know if it's better for them to be away or if they'd want the home crowd there to kind of really get them going and get the goal. But I went 2-1 West Brom. Craig also agreed with me. And all I'm going to say is if you look at his league position in a minute, I'm actually annoyed that he's agreed with me. But also looking at points this week won't do you much favour and joys because Chris has agreed with you. He has gone 2-1 Southampton. So the 2-1s are out in force. So that's the kickoff out of the way. That is an official registered prediction, ready, locked in. He's not left it too late to do it this week like he did a few weeks before. We've got him in. And now we're on to Saturday 3 o'clock kickoffs. But before we do that, Ant, shall we just tell show the world why it is that I'm being so humorous in your direction? Shall we show them why we call you Little Ant?
Can we add the context to it first, or have we got to do that after?
Oh, well, I tell you what. How about I show the lovely people, and when they finish laughing and picking their jaws off the floor from laughter and aching bellies, you can then explain the context behind such a disastrous thing. Here we go, folks. Here is your league.
Oh my God, you've actually changed it to Little Ant as well.
I know that was my preference. Chris was wetting himself when I did that. I kind of wanted a difference between you and Anthony, but I said, oh, Ant, Little Ant, and he just wrote it out like that. Now, as you can see there, not so much a runaway leader, but Doug is still holding out at the top with an 18-point lead at the top. He is the Man City of the division. He is flying high. However, he was only joint top in points over game weeks 31 and 32 with a whopping 23 points joint with him as well. Well, I'd be rude not to do it. 23 points, Doug. You think you got the best week? You got the joint best week, mate. I was there with you on 23 points. So I just wanted a little bit of a smug moment. You saw the league table I am. I don't get many, so let me have that one, all right? But it was a good league all around, lots of 20 points gaps. I mean, before we get onto the explanation as to why the bottom three are so far off, I mean, Ant, look at that table from 6th to 1st. There's not really a lot separating them, is there? And then from you could say downwards down to 12th at least. There's not much in that either. It's a very close table, almost championship-esque in how close it is. You've got Doug running away with it like Leicester at the top. Maybe we change Doug to a secret Leicester fan. Maybe that's it. I don't know. But, I mean, I know you're going to explain why you, Luke and Dave, are so far behind as well. Well, more you than Luke and Dave. They've got a chance of catching up. But the rest of the table's looking very tasty going into this last quarter of the season, isn't it?
You know what's even more worrying, saying it's championship-esque? I am well and truly the Rotherham of the championship. There's absolutely no hope.
Don't disrespect Rotherham like that. You're more like the Wycombe Wanderers of last year.
There's just no hope of me getting off the bottom of the table. I mean, the fact that I joined on match week 24 and have only put in about 3 weeks' worth of predictions is probably not helping my cause.
No, it probably isn't the fact that you've only done about 3 out of the 10 game weeks you've been here for. But in fairness to you, when you have bothered to turn up, you've got a few results right on the board. So who knows? Maybe next year you're that 5,000 to 1 horse that everybody should be backing. Anyway, I finish in embarrassing him. I finish in making him feel sorry for himself. I'm going to put this up just to remind you all to do that. Things to both lovely channels. Links are in the description, so make sure you do. If you haven't already, go over and just double check. You never know. You might have been coming to these channels for months and months and months, and you've never clicked that button without realising it. Shameless plug time. Here we are. Hopefully, we're going to get you some points this week, Anthony. Saturday kickoff. We talked about one promotion rival for Leicester. We're going to talk about another one. It's not the pasty making machines Plymouth, but they are at home and hosting Leeds United. Leeds United, who due to a decent run of form and a stumbling from the Tractor Boys, who had held second place for a long, long time, they are now well and truly in that hunt for that automatic promotion zone. Southampton finally losing and dropping points against Bristol City really helped them that. They've got Argyle. They've got Argyle away, who are Plymouth for me better at home than they are away. But do I really see this going any other way? My heart says Plymouth nick a point, maybe win this game 2-1. I don't think there's many in the prediction league that may have backed that. But I'm gonna go first on this one, and I'm gonna tell you that nobody in our on the predictions list that I've got here, which is me, Craig, and Chris, just for those that are asking, have gone for a Plymouth win. I've gone 3-0 lead. Craig's gone for a goal fest. He's gone 4-2 lead, and Chris is, well, he's the 2-1 master. Looking down at Leeds, he's gone for another 2-1 win to Leeds. Are you completing the full set, or do you see Plymouth at home springing a surprise?
It's a hard place to go, isn't it? But I still think Leeds will have too much. I'm going to stick with a boring 2-1.
Oh, wow! I mean, you said it, not me. Boring 2-1. It doesn't fit in my little box that I've got. For anyone who realises the technology we use at LTID TV, it's all written out, fixtures there and names. So I can't put really boring 2-1, but I will put 2-1 down for you nevertheless.
Did you not just write the really boring bit? Isn't that the more important bit than the scoreline?
Oh, I suppose it is. Oh no, I've accidentally put really boring above your name. Oh, what happened there? No, I didn't really. I wouldn't do such a thing to you. I already bully you enough with your height, which is ridiculous because on camera, obviously you can't tell the difference between it, which is funny. Callum has obviously got vengeance against Leeds. He's gone 2-1 for Plymouth. John, he sees only a 1 win, and that'll be for Leeds. Scott, somebody check the med, see what you're on, but he's gone for Plymouth. I mean, stranger things have happened. We don't know. He's gone 2-0 to Plymouth. Green Army and Leeds 1-1. So Ronald's back in a draw. Scott, I'm sure I went 2-1 lead. Steve, sorry, I thought it was Scott, but your badges are very similar. But he says, I'm sure I went 2-1 leads. You probably did, mate. I haven't written everybody's down. It was just because I had a little bit of room that I got bored. I got bored and Craig's was there. I normally just do whoever's on the show, but there was room for more. Last but not least, late to the first one, but truly Ethan, who truly is Ethan, apparently, he's gone for a crunching game. He's gone for 3-2 West Brom against Southampton. So he's catching up. Are we going to get his Plymouth versus Leeds score in? Only Ethan knows. Moving on, while we let Ethan and anyone else that's late to the show catching up, and you're going first this time. That's how we're going to do it. We're going to do a bit of to me to you, a bit of Chuckle Brothers special there. It is the stinking house of Birmingham at home to Sunderland. I mean, two teams that have had contrasting seasons, to say the least. I mean, Birmingham were 5th when they decided to hire, in their infinite wisdom, Wayne Rooney, who catapulted them all the way down to 15th. I'd say since then they've balanced out, but they haven't really got going at all, really. They've got a few more points than they obviously did under Rooney, but when you consider how badly Rooney did with Birmingham, it's not that difficult to do. Against a Sunderland side who, at times, it seems this season, just crop up in a bit of form. Are they going through a purple patch now? They've been a bit hit and miss. Birmingham are at home to Sunderland. I mean, where do you see this going?
I'm going to go with a 1-0 to Birmingham. Obviously, it's the Tony Mowbray derby, isn't it?
It is.
And I just feel like those kind of games where I feel like the Sunderland fans still have more, and this is going by what I because I talk to Michael Bowers most week, who's a big Sunderland fan, feel like they've still got more love for Tony Mowbray than they do for Michael Beale. So it's an
not
interesting.
hard, is it?
No,
I mean, Ian Beale's relative. Who wants to be friends with that?
but yeah, I think Birmingham they're due a big result, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, they certainly seem that way, and it would seem that a few people agree with you. Notably, Craig and Chris both going for that really boring 2-1 scoreline to Birmingham. Ronald, he thinks that the Mackham Sunderland are going to get a 2-0 win. Speaking of big wins, Scott's predicted 3-0 after that. I've got you lovely people are commenting quite a lot, but it's making me have to scroll up so I can go back to the first one. Where did we get up to? Truly,
that comment's going to upset a few people.
Callum, go watch. I don't know. Coronation Street. Apparently, you've got to go. Apparently, Callum's got to go watch Coronation Street. I hate this. I've got one of them little D-pad. I haven't got a proper wired mouse, and that little finicky bar that StreamYard has me scrolling down is the worst ever. Callum's gone for a 1-0 win to Birmingham. Truly has caught up. He well and truly has. I really need to work on my pun skills. He's gone 2-0 to Leeds, but he has followed it up with, I call it the ball on ITV4 because that's where all the highlights go, and it's the only way I could think to be funny and get it to word. Probably not being funny, but at least it rhymes. And funny enough, I have also gone for a ball draw. I don't think it'll be a ball draw in the sense of nothing really happens. I think it'll be a fiery contest. I can see maybe a red card in here, but I've gone for 0-0. So at least I'm not the only one. Callum's then gone 1-0 Birmingham again. He just likes to repeat himself. Does Callum? I don't know if maybe some of these are coming through twice or people are just that eager to tell me the scoreline predictions twice. Leeds win for Arthur. He's gone 2-1. We're up to date now. We're all caught up, he says. Birmingham 1, Sunderland 1, says John. Hate when you play teams 4 times.
They played them in the cup, didn't they?
Yeah, that is a nightmare. We had that with Tottenham for a while, didn't we? It felt like it was almost rigged. I can't remember if we got them in the Carabao Cup, but we used to have it where we'd play them in the league, and then a week later we'd have them in like the FA Cup, and then we'd play them instantly at their place.
Do you remember we had it at Liverpool? I can't remember when it was, but we played them on Wednesday, and then we played them on Saturday, and I'm pretty sure then the following Tuesday we played them as well.
Yeah, that's what I called the when the fixture lists were randomly selected. We went 3 seasons, and I think even when we won the title, that's where it started. We went Liverpool. It was all around Christmas and New Year. We would go Liverpool at home, Man City away, Liverpool away, Man City at home, and that's how it fell for and obviously Christmas and New Year in that period, the games did come thick and fast, and that's where it came from. But these fixture lists are completely random. When stuff like that happens, you just don't feel it, does it? Kyle's gone 2-1 to the fake Geordies. I don't know how insulting that is to them.
That's right. That was the comment that I said, and that's going to upset a few.
Oh, I know, right? That does sound like it'll stir a pot. And then Arthur is just, as you suggest there, Plymouth 2 cup games, 2 league games. Yeah, I suppose it's not too bad if you win all 4 games, but it is a bit tiring nonetheless, still playing the same opponents as it was. But we move on. We go a bit further down in terms of aerial here. In terms of geographically, I think I failed geography, so I shouldn't be making a geography reference, if I'm perfectly honest with you. But Bristol City take on QPR. I mean, QPR spent about 3 months being managed by a member of Take That. But they seem to have just given up. You mentioned Rotherham being your position in the league table. Bristol, QPR. I mean, I hate to say it with what, 12, 13 games to go, but are Bristol City playing a pre-mentally relegated QPR? I mean, everybody else has gone for a Bristol win. I've gone 2-0 Bristol. Craig's gone 3-1 Bristol, and Chris has gone 2-0 Bristol. Are you making this a full house, or do you see QPR showing some fight? Because I mean, they've got to start showing some fight soon, haven't they? Surely, if they're to stay in the Championship.
I mean, What's the old Ian Holloway press conferences like? This can't carry on, can it? Well, it can, and I think that's exactly what QPR is going to have. They seem dead and buried at this point, so I'm going to go 3-0 Bristol City.
He's gone 3-0 Bristol. It seems like everybody is saying RIP to QPR. Yes, I did stretch that out to make sure it worked in my head as well as it did out loud. Antner, just this man here, he's just love of this channel. There is 24 of you currently watching. If you can all smash that like button and get things up, that'd be very, very much appreciated. It just helps people that are maybe looking for Leicester content, fresh Leicester content, finders, and it honestly does the world of good for us as a channel. Everybody so far going for a Bristol win. Callum had gone 2-0, John had gone 2-1, Ronald had gone 3-0. Scott with his crazy prediction score lines. I mean, if Scott could predict football and get it right, we'd have some exciting games in the divisions, wouldn't we? He's gone for another high scoring one. He's gone 4-1, and truly Ethan catching up there, completing the roundup. He's gone 2-0 Bristol City. Now then, a team that seems to have found a new lease of life. They stole the Sheffield Wednesday manager and it didn't really work out for them. They sacked Neil. Well, they didn't sack Neil Warnock. They mutually came to an agreement to leave because they said they found someone better. Very, very, very strange. Just as this knobhead comes in. Bristol 3-9. I mean, you're predicting Bristol City to lose 9-3 against QPR. That's very brave of you, Anthony, against one of your 3,000 red teams that you support. There's Anthony, who he's not the privilege of getting called Big Ant. So don't worry, Ant. You're not alone. That he's just Anthony. He's just too plain. But Huddersfield, 1-0 win against Sunderland. Caught a lot of people out with that one. Hull City are just weird. I mean, that's just a natural assessment of Hull City, but this season is just so weird. You know, they play someone down the bottom and everybody goes 3-0 Hull City, home win, banker, and they go and lose 2-1. Then they play someone like Ipswich and you think, wow, they've got no chance, Ipswich flying high, and they go and get a draw or better. I mean, Huddersfield are at home. Slight transformation in their form recently. Still struggling down at the bottom, and for that reason, I actually put my first draw in. My second draw in, and I went 1-1 where do you see this going? And then what scoreline have you predicted?
Well, I think this will be a close game. It's a Yorkshire derby as well, isn't it? Is it a big derby for them? I get confused with the Yorkshire ones. Which ones are considered
Barnsley's big? A bigger one for Huddersfield. I'm pretty sure it's Barnsley, Huddersfield, and is it Bolton as well? They're in that mix sort of a little bit.
Bolton's Lancashire, isn't it?
Lancashire, sorry. So yeah, I think it's Barnsley, Huddersfield are the main big ones. It's still a derby, nonetheless. It's kind of like Leicester playing Villa when we're in the Premiership. The only reason it was made a big fuss off on Sky is because it was the only derby that we had, because they obviously have Wolves. So I feel like it's one of them. Because you can't hear Hull and Huddersfield, they sound like they're nowhere near each other, doesn't it, really? But there we are. Maybe it is a bit tougher than we thought. If there is any Hull and Huddersfield fans that want to come in the chat and let us know if it is a big derby as we think, do let us know down below. You know my thoughts on it. You know I've gone 1-1, Ant. So where are you going in this technical derby?
I'm going to go for a Desmond 2-2.
I literally couldn't have picked a better comment to pop up after John said 2-1 to Hull. He's gone for a Desmond, and we have our first Desmond of the evening out of us two. So you can't separate them. I can't separate them. Guess what? You're copying Chris's homework because he can't separate them. He sent me through his, and he's gone for a Desmond. Craig has matched what John said, though. Craig's gone for a 2-1 win to Hull City. Scott, are you feeling all right, Scott? He's just dropped his scoring average down. He's only gone for a 1-goal win there. As has Ronald, he thinks Huddersfield, though, will sneak a 1-0 win. And Callum, he has gone for Huddersfield again to win it, sneak it 2-1. So it's a bit like that 33.33%. You've got some saying a draw, some saying a Hull win, some saying a Huddersfield win. And, of course, truly, Ethan gets the reference, a good old Desmond 2-2. So there we go. There's everybody's predictions. We move on. Well, actually, I know what some of you do, right? Some of you get the whole fixture list up and you sit there on your computer waiting for your team or maybe a rival's team to get spoke about. You're probably thinking, here we go. Leicester versus Middlesbrough, the one we're all here for. Yeah, if you thought a Leicester channel would get that out of the way, Doc, to keep you guys on tender hooks and stick around, you're very foolish. If you've got a list up, you might as well scratch it out. We're jumping over the Leicester Middlesbrough fixture list. We'll come to that at the end of the Saturday games. But we're going to jump to a team I'm not very fond of versus a team that I wasn't that fond of, but now I've become quite fond of. But mainly because they keep getting me points in the predictions leagues. I am, of course, talking about Millwall at home to Sheffield Wednesday. I don't like Millwall. I don't even think Millwall like Millwall at the best of times. But they are taking on a Sheffield Wednesday side who, again, we're looking down the bottom end of the table, but unlike other teams down there, like your Rotherhams and QPRs, showing fight to stay up. Are they not? And do you see them picking up a vital point here? Because, I mean, any point now at this stage of the season for a team in that situation is going to be vital. Or are the scumbag? I mean, are Millwall going to have any say in stopping Wednesday picking up points?
I tell you what, watched the Millwall game against Cov.
I'd rather not. Sorry, Anne. It's just how you said it. He's got nothing to say.
My expectations were low, but no, I watched the Millwall game against Cov, and they went 1-0 up, and they really should have gone 2 or 3 up. In that first half, that's the best I've seen Millwall play all season. But it was just second half, they almost shot themselves in the foot in that game. I just think, but saying that, I thought, in our game against Wednesday, I thought that second half, not many teams have had a go at us like Wednesday did in that second half. But so it shows that neither team's given up at this stage. So I think it'd be a close game. I'm going to go 1-0 Millwall.
Oh dear, 1-0 Millwall. Well, we don't need people like that. We don't need that sort of negativity in our stream. So, I went 1-0 Sheffield Wednesday. I've got a brain. Craig went 1-1 and Chris went 1-0. So that's it. Yeah, see you later, everybody from Mount's channel. He's all gone now. We don't have blasphemy like that. No, obviously not. Obviously, well, you watch now. You'll probably Millwall will bloody win 1-0, and you'll go and get bloody 3 points from that game.
Wait until it happens, and I am going to make the most brilliant TikTok clip about you
really are. Then Chris is going to be fuming at me for allowing such a slanderous thing to be said and tell me to shut up from now on. So let's hope it doesn't happen. Ethan, he thinks the form's going to turn around. He's continuing the tradition. He's gone 1-0 Wednesday. John's getting dot points. He's gone 1-0 Millwall. I'm just power hungry. Alan, what kind of people do you bring over from your channel? What kind of circus have you brought to this realm? Nobody likes Millwall. Stop predicting Millwall to win.
I've brought a well-educated, unbiased audience.
Where? What, they just not logged in yet? Sheffield Wednesday will win 2-0. See, Chris's audience makes sense. He knows the drill. I see Millwall fight in an empty room once. It was a straight... I mean, if that's what gets you through the day, Anthony, you watch what you want to watch, mate. Scott's gone for a ball on ITV4. He's gone 0-0. Ant needs to remember I predicted Bristol to win versus Southampton. I mean, a broken clock is right twice a day, so maybe that's a miracle for you. Maybe that's a great thing. I don't know how your predictions and that are going over there, but good stuff. See, Ant, did you pay these all a fiver in the PayPal saying, look, this will really piss Brad off, going Millwall to win? Yeah. Unbelievable. Some of you should feel more shame.
Now I know it's going to get this reaction. I'm going to do it every week.
Oh, for God's sake, I'm going to start leaving it out. I'm just going to let you allow. I'm not going to allow you to predict a Millwall result, but no, you're banned. So there you go. But just to recap, you've gone 1-0 Millwall. Sheffield Wednesday, I've gone 1-0. Craig went for a draw and Chris gone 1-0. Millwall. So moving on quickly because that's going to depress me. You've got people with 6 fingers and 6 toes versus the Welsh shagging capital. Sorry, you've got Norwich versus Cardiff. So if this gets demonetized now, Chris will blame me and I'll have to pay more than anything out. Evening, Chester, Leicester. Hope you're well. If you want to catch up with the predictions, go ahead, scroll up and read what's on. Let us know, or just pick up from now. We are, of course, all about Norwich at home to Cardiff. I mean, if Norwich are going to make the playoffs this season, which doesn't really look likely, they're too inconsistent for me. It's a tough game, Cardiff. Cardiff didn't start off brilliantly, but have sort of seemingly found a weird way in the Championship. They're in that bracket, though, aren't they? Where they're in the midst of nowhere. Maybe too good to go down, but not good enough to really gate crash that playoffs, or at least make a stable stay in that playoff situation. Where do you see this one going, and what are you predicting?
I think it'll be a 2-1 Norwich win. And one thing to say is everyone goes on about Cov probably being that team at finishing 6th in the playoffs. Norwich are level on points with them.
Yeah, but and Cov are crap as well. I mean, they're the only team that could start a game between Leicester and Coventry 25 points behind us, and then 3 weeks later find themselves 30 points behind us. But apparently they're a massive team that got to a massive FA Cup final win against 10-man Leicester. But we don't talk about that. We don't remind them of that. We don't remind them of how much they over-celebrated that. But what I will remind you is that you are not the only one that has gone for a Norwich win. I think they had a comfortable 4-2 win last time out. Ronald thinks it'll be 0-0. I did put that up a bit prematurely, but he did go 0-0. John has gone to... He's gone 2-0. He's agreed with a few of us. Truly thinks there'll be lots of goals in it. He's gone for a Desmond. I think he's just on a Desmond hype train. And Scott has gone for a 1-0 Norwich win. However, I have gone 2-0 Norwich. Craig's gone 3-1 Norwich. And Chris has gone 2-0 Norwich. So we're only going to get separated by a correct score on that one. So you'll be praying if it's 2-0 with 80 minutes gone that Cardiff score goals. Because otherwise, for a few of these results, you kind of expect this, don't you? Though this time of the season, and would you not say if you're trying to predict leagues and results, this is the part where it's going to get difficult to get points on the board and catch up to others. If you've got you've got like a 150 point gap between yourselves and others.
I feel sorry for anyone in that situation.
You what?
I feel sorry for anyone in that situation.
I know. I couldn't fathom who would ever put themselves or be in such a situation. I mean, you'd have to. I don't know. You'd have to miss half the prediction league and then not predict when you're in it. I don't know how someone could be about 150, 200 points off everybody else. I don't know where you'd see such a graphic showing such a thing. But there you go. That's how it is. That is how we roll. I'm going to get myself back all set up now because that took a lot of prepping, believe it or not, with me. Scott just voicing that. Coventry still praying in their open top prosperity. I know, right? I thought the likes of Hull early in the season celebrated it hard. They were celebrating it like they just beat Barcelona in the Champions League final. But moving on to two teams that have, I want to say that they've both really let themselves down this season. John Dow Thomas, I always pronounce his name wrong, finally left Blackburn Rovers, who have been miserable this season. I mean, there's underachieving and then there's just being rotten. I don't know what's gone wrong there because there was a lot of hype around him. He had a little link to Leicester before Maresca was placed. And now they've got to go to Preston North End, who I'm just going to start calling Groundhog Day FC because they start well. They're top 2 in October, and then they finish 8th. And for like the last 3 seasons, I'm pretty sure that's exactly how their season's gone. They start off like a house on fire and then end up like the end of a house fire and burn out and go absolutely nowhere. 2 very disappointing teams in terms of how they're doing this season. I mean, new manager bounce is like going to be enough to save Blackburn. Shackles, did he do a lot wrong? What's gone wrong at Blackburn for you, Ant?
to be honest, I haven't watched enough of them to give a fair opinion. But what I will say is, every time I've seen them play, they look like they play quite pretty football, but never put the ball in the back of the net. And it's like, but something to say about this is it is a derby and it is a Lancashire derby. It's not the big Lancashire derby between Blackburn and Burnley. My mind went blank there, but I do know for a fact that they don't like each other particularly, so that could make it a little bit spicy.
Yeah, spicy as I read the word chickens is just at the start. Yeah, I mean, a derby, no matter how close or how big, whether it's first or second on the list, should always add a bit of extra venom to the situation. It's just they're so bad in form, and both teams are just they're picking up scrap heaps. I think you could say, and it's something I didn't think I'd say about Blackburn, but realistically for Blackburn and Preston, I last remember seeing them in the table as, you know, Ethan goes 0-0, John's gone for a Desmond, Scott's gone 3-1, and Callum went 2-1 to Preston. I'm not sure you need to write these down for yours, but he also went 2-0 Norwich in the game against Cardiff. They're lucky that, with the greatest respect, that there's teams like Rotherham, QPR and Sheffield United in this division that have performed so badly in that first half of the season, because they'd be relegation candidates, wouldn't they?
To be fair, Preston, I think you're being slightly harsh on them because they are level on points with the playoff places with 3 wins.
From when I last looked at it then.
Yeah, 3 wins, a draw and a loss in their last 5. So I think Preston aren't in too bad a form, but Blackburn 1 win in 5, and new manager always gives hope. But Blackburn, I think, are a lot more disappointing this year than Preston.
Yeah, like I said, Preston seemed to just be Groundhog Day. I would, if I had money, I'd bet a fiver with you now that Preston will finish 8th, because that's where I mean, maybe it's just like, mentally, I feel like that's what they do every season because it gets talked about on TalkSport when they review the Championship. Obviously, we've been in the Premiership for the last few seasons, so we've not really had to bother too much about worrying about clubs in the Championship. But I always felt like when it's been talked about that Preston were like up there, fell off, and then completely fell out of the promotion record altogether. But yeah, I would definitely say by a mile Blackburn having arguably the most disappointing season out there in terms of expectation. I don't know. So after all that waffling, Ray going 2-1, Chris going 3-1. These are all to Preston. I've sat on the fence gone 1-1. What was it you went for again?
I've waffled that much and I didn't actually give you a score prediction.
I thought you didn't, but I just thought I'd double check anyway.
2-0 Preston.
2-0 Preston. So you're all going for a Preston win, and I've gone for a draw to tell you why you're wrong. Scott says, Brad, I didn't realise Sheffield United were in this division. Always thought it was Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, they're bottom of the Premier League for all it's worth. They might as well be in this division to be having more fun. Speaking of teams that might be having more fun, let's roll on through, as Doc Ronald likes to remind us that Preston and Blackpool hate each other. I find it hard to hate a side when you're never playing them in the same division. But teams that aren't going well, Rotherham versus Watford. I mean, Rotherham are getting the odd result here and there, but a point here and then 4 losses, a point there and then 3 losses. It's just not going to keep any team up in any division, let alone in a Championship. They fare a little bit better in their home form. But that's like saying you came 5th place out of a six. You know, that's like saying you came 5th in an egg and spoon race when there was only 6 competitors. It's not really too much better. Watford, bit weird in terms of sometimes they can go on a goal glut, and then some other times they just never turn up and get beat easy. I think they get rolled one midweek against like Bristol after I think they beat someone 5-1 and then respectively lost by the same scoreline. So a bit hit and miss. However, I have gone for Watford to win this easy. I've gone 3-1 Watford. Craig sat on the fence, gone 1-1. Chris has gone 2-0 Watford. Are you going to throw a spanner in the works and go for a Rotherham win, or is this just easy?
Not even Rotherham fans are predicting they're going to win this. I'm going 1-0 Watford. So the thing is, looking at Rotherham, the one thing I will say is they don't at home seem to ever lose particularly heavily. They tend to be in games. So like looking through some of their results at home, they lost 2-1 to Hull. They lost 2-0 to Southampton. This is just their home games, by the way. 1-0 to Stoke. Where are we again? 2-0 to West Brom. 2-1 to Swansea. So do you see what I mean? That they're always in the games. They never seem to get battered. But
yeah,
like away from home, complete different thing. They get battered every week. But
yeah, I do feel sorry for Rotherham, and this shows that big contrast in not so much quality, but financially the difference, because you know how you can kind of say about a team or maybe even just an individual player that you'd say they're too good for that division, but they're not good enough for the division. The division higher, they can't quite crack it. I refer to Dwight Gale. You know who I'm on about with Dwight Gale, the weird eyes kind of thing. No. Anyway, but he could do it for Crystal Palace, couldn't he? He could score goals for Crystal Palace and Newcastle. He could score loads of goals in the Championship, but when he tried to keep making that step up to the Premiership, it didn't quite work for him. I feel like Rotherham have that structure where they can't bring in the necessary strength in their quality and squad. Like, they can get a few good players to compete in a Championship, but it's just not quite enough. And I think that's where they suffer with it, because they've been in and around the Championship for a long time, haven't they, in terms of going down or maybe staying up a year. So it just maybe shows that maybe we need to invest more money in the lower leagues. I mean, truly, Ethan's here. He's had enough of Rotherham. He wants them relegated.
Can I just agree with Ethan with that? Honestly, I don't feel sorry for them at all. I don't know if you remember when we played them earlier on in the season at their place.
Yeah.
How much they were crying about the celebrations of, oh, you've got a Premier League team and you're celebrating that much beating Rotherham. It's like, cry me a river.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe it's just the red and white thing, because Southampton's fans have opened up a salt factory. The amount of tears they cry. I mean,
to be fair, some of my stuff on Twitter probably did aggravate a few. I'll be honest.
Oh! You mean the master of the pot stirring over here upset some Southampton fans? No, I couldn't.
No, Rotherham fans. I quite like
Rotherham
Southampton actually. Yeah, because they were moaning about how much we were celebrating and stuff, and going about, oh, it's a Premier League club and all of this, and you've got a Premier League team, which, by the way, we don't. And I was like, well, you know what makes it even worse? We had to turn to our £80 million bench to beat you. And it's like,
oh, brilliant! I love the cut of this man's chip when he talks like that. I mean, but it's true though, isn't it? I don't get it with some people. With some,
it's like
Southampton fans moaning that they didn't get Premier League and Player of the Month for, I think it was December. It's like, oh, sorry, we beat everybody, and one of our wingers scored like 5 goals. Sorry.
But the thing is, like, my thing is with the celebrations, it's like we had a crap year last year. We should enjoy every minute of this season whilst we're doing well.
Exactly. And I was saying the same when we had them seasons when, okay, at the last quarter we fell off, and eventually the wheels fully came off. If you're saying not getting Champions League football for a team that had barely spent 5 minutes in the Premiership after a 10-year hiatus is a bottle job, then fine, we bottled. We bottled.
Okay, can we just stop the clip there? I'm glad we're both on the same page. We bottled it from the position we're in. Don't need the bit before. You'll get used to it. I get clipped where you miss the context of it, and it just that little bit, and it's like.
Yeah.
But saying that, I do think from a position where we were in, it was a complete bottle job. But saying that, I also think if the season had finished normally and we didn't come back in the way that we did behind closed doors, etc., I think we would have got top 4. But it's if, buts, and maybes, isn't it?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. Of course it is. But anyway, we are where we are now. And again, like I said, I remember saying back then when people were getting giddy that we were going into European competitions every season. We were going far in the FA Cup, because we had a few seasons, weren't we, where both FA and League Cup, we were going quarter-final, semi-final stage. And then obviously we did eventually win it. But I always said, enjoy these moments, because they're not going to last, and when they come crashing down, they hit you hard. And we saw that last season, so why shouldn't we enjoy this season? But these guys aren't here for us to mush about our own football club. We'll save that for Chris to do tomorrow when the watch along, because he is available for that watch along. We're here to predict things, and unfortunately, me and Ant both suck at it, so don't listen to us. Stale Ale City. Stoke City are at home to the smaller club of the M69 Massive Derby, because as I always say, if your derby's named after a motorway, then it's massive, right? They are, of course, then at home to Coventry City, who have an ex-Leicester manager in charge, and unfortunately, fortunately for me, I guess my mum's a Cov fan, so I do have a little bit of a soft spot for them. Coventry make the playoffs, Leicester go up automatically. Take that, would you, Ant, or would you rather see them suffer in the Championship and we go up automatic?
I want to see them nowhere near the Premier League, and it's funny how they sold out the Leicester game. I'm going to find something for you that I found very funny, and I love the fact it came from Maidstone earlier. I love the fact Maidstone were taking a little jibe at Cov earlier. I thought it was brilliant.
Here we go. Ant's mission to slander Coventry part 1. Let's see what it is, Ant. Go on. You dig it out while I talk about it. I mean, I don't like Stoke notoriously. I think they're boring. I know they came back down from the Premiership in 2019. I think it was the 18-19 season. But I just feel like Stoke have probably spent the longest time in that Championship since its birth. And like the Premier League, we have to remember the Championship existed before it was rebranded the Championship. It was known as I believe the last name it went under was possibly before it changed to the Championship, was the Nationwide Division 1. That was when we last got that's when we got promoted in 2002. Became known as the Coca-Cola Championship. But I feel like Stoke have just been a rotten side that have gone for it. John's gone 2-1 Coventry. I've put these up already. Callum, your good old mate who was here 10 minutes before showtime, he's gone 2-1 Coventry. Truly Ethan's gone 2-1 to Coventry, and Scott has gone for we don't care about you, Scott. 4-2 Stoke. Shut up, get out. Scott, go and sit on the naughty step. Think about what you've just said there. Stoke scoring is bad enough, but giving them 4 goals. Ronald's give the other alternative. They get to the playoff final, but choke it again.
Oh, that would be brilliant. And I hope it's in even more heartbreaking fashion than last time.
Oh, dear. So you obviously didn't go for a Coventry win, but in the midst of hearing your rant, what was it? What was you predicted, and what was it you were trying to find from Maidstone?
Maidstone. So I've shared it on screen, mate.
I see it. Okay. Let me bring this up for you.
Look at the picture they used of the
You've got to love that Maidstone. And the actual FA Cup, they've gone for it as if they are the massive side. No, you know what?
But look at the background picture. Look at the background picture they've used. They've used it.
That is brilliant, mate. They've actually used. You'll have to send me that, and I need to get in touch with. I need to get Maidstone following on Twitter. I need to follow. That's brilliant.
But the fact that they've gone for a practically empty stadium, which was any point for Coventry before the last 2 years.
Yeah, just Coventry in general. It's just normal.
Or pretty much when they're not playing Leicester or a semi-final, a playoff semi-final. So again, I've sort of lost my train of thought, but 1-0 Stoke. I refuse to predict Cov to win.
You know what? Normally I'd blaspheme you for saying such things, because Stoke are just one of the teams that send me to sleep. It's like watching paint dry. But I'll give you that, because they are playing Coventry. I actually had the bell end button confiscated from this channel, for those that know the bell end button or know what I'm about, because in 1 week everybody predicted Coventry to ring, and I already made the preemptive decision to press it every time someone predicted a Coventry win. And yeah, that's my fault. That one's in the bandbox right now. So I went 2-0 Coventry because I don't like Stoke. You've been brave and gone for Stoke to beat Coventry because you want to see Coventry tears. More power to you for it. And Craig and Chris have both gone 2-0 wins for Coventry. Now then, we're talking about teams that are falling apart and feeling a bit empty, if you will. It looks a bit like that picture of the Coventry City Stadium. We go to an Ipswich side who are travelling away to Swansea. They are travelling away down south to Swansea. They bounced back with a win. Silly people started quoting pictures on Twitter with like a picture of someone sneaking up in the background on someone with tractor boys and Leeds in front of them. They've won one, what feels like in the last 3 games. They've been on stuttering form. But are the tractor boys going to continue their repair job and fight back up for that top 2 spot? They are playing a Swansea team who, well, if we say Blackburn have been disappointing, I would say on name alone they're more disappointing than them. But Swansea have still had a very disappointing season. They are getting carted around. They're getting used and abused like something that I won't say for YouTube purposes and channels. Battered 5-0, 3-0. Surely this has to be an Ipswich return to winning ways. They have to continue that streak.
What, that streak of making it 2 wins in a row?
Well, I mean, the streak they were on before they went on this bad fall away. Yeah, all right, clip that. Get me done as the idiot that said they're going on a streak of 1 win. All right. Callum's gone 3-0. Ipswich. John's gone 3-1. Ipswich. I mean, 3-1 Ipswich. Surely you're not going to go. You're not going to do a nipping and like that. Go against us, that are you?
I think I am. I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Oh, he's gone 1-1, folks. He's put the draw. He's put the mockers on it. He's given it the kiss of death. He's gone for a 1-1 draw. Now, is that your heart rule in your head that Ipswich don't make a run for it? Or I mean, I don't personally care for it at all.
Well, if I'm saying I'm not really too bothered about what Leeds do, I've got to say Ipswich are what, like, Jesus Christ, I didn't realise quite how far behind us they are now.
They're 15 points, aren't they? Or 6 more?
15 points.
Yeah. So
I don't really care. I'll be honest. I don't mind Ipswich, but again, I'm not threatened or concerned by what they do.
No, I don't think anyone is, and I'll be honest with you. I know this sounds arrogant because it is arrogant of me to say this, but I don't even care what Southampton and Leeds do to us. They've proven to me over this season that they're not able to put that consistency together enough to pounce when Leicester crumble. It was all great that Southampton went 25 games unbeaten, and I really appreciate that fantastic run. But they lost. They dropped points when Leicester didn't.
Can I just say something about that Southampton run? Like, throughout that point of run, the gap actually only closed by 1 point because they drew that many games.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Whereas if you feel that if we're going to get caught this season, which I honestly just do not see, I again, I know it's arrogant. I don't care. I just don't see enough consistency in the runs they're putting together. I mean, I think it was Leeds' Twitter page put something out saying they're going for 5 wins in a row. Well, you just know the pressure's on. We don't talk about stuff like that here. You know, really, we don't really talk. 6 games in a row, 6 wins in a row. I mean,
don't look at my match. Don't look at my match preview title.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, but we don't mention that. It's like mentioning the war on Faulty Towers. You think you've got away with it, so don't mention it. But no, I mean
I can quickly change the title of my thumbnail, of course.
We're not live. No one will know about it. It's honestly fine.
Just cut this bit out.
Yeah, we'll just cut it out. I don't know if Ethan have had to put that in at that point, but he's gone. He's gone 2-1 Ipswich, and as I wait for this lovely YouTube notification on my laptop to go away, well, it was here early, and he's leaving first. First one in, first one out. He's had enough of predictions now. Well, to be fair, we are done with the Saturday predictions, and we do midweek ones here because it makes it easier. There's not many midweek games. So yeah, take care, Callum. Thanks for joining us here. See you on the next video. Hopefully you want to, I don't know if you would, but you might want to come and join us to do a watch along here. I don't know what's going on. You might want to join us maybe the next predictions. Either way, I hope to see you lovely people that aren't here. Again, thank you, Callum. Right, you got 2 choices, Dan. We can either just rip the Band-Aid off and go through the 4 midweek games, and then we can have a bit of a talk about Leicester, or we can have a talk about the Leicester Middlesbrough game and then rip the Band-Aid off of the 4 at the end. Which way do you want to do it, mate?
We talk Leicester first and round off the Saturday, this weekend's fixtures.
You want to talk about Leicester and then rip the Band-Aid off. Okay, that's how we're going to do it, folks. We left you on here in tenderhooks long enough. It is, of course, Leicester versus Middlesbrough. it's funny that you mentioned that your review might have banged on about wins and runs and whatnot that Leicester going on, because I believe if Leicester don't lose this game, they've gone their biggest on the most wins at home since the last time they were promoted or something daft like that. I don't know. Leicester Middlesbrough, well, we know what we're doing. We're 400 points clear of everybody in the league, it feels like. But this is one of the very few teams that can and have the opportunity to do a league double over us. Nobody's done that so far. Ipswich are the only team to be undefeated against us, but nobody yet, and that's because we still have Leeds and Hull City to play. I believe there are only a couple of teams that can do it. Maybe there's someone else out there I'm missing.
No, I know Hull was the only other team that beat us, and obviously we beat them on opening day.
Yes, of course. So yeah, there's no double. Yeah, so there's you know, maybe we should look at this from a different perspective. And you know, Middlesbrough, we could talk about how indifferent they are, but they have got a good manager. They've been restricted in what they've been able to do. They've lost a lot of key players, so maybe their league position is actually better than where they should be, given that. But do we credit Middlesbrough? Is that a coup in Middlesbrough season if they come to the King Power and get a draw, or even worse for us in that sense, they go and beat us and Leicester go and get promoted? Because is it not nice to then be able to sit there and go, yeah, remember that year Leicester came down and absolutely battered us? Couldn't beat us though, could they? Is that something that he could use to fire them up, or is it just something you kind of, you know, maybe as a manager don't even bother talking about and just go out there? Because there's not many teams that can actually say that.
It's just one of those. I think it's just, I don't want to say another game, because it's probably one of those games that, and again, without sounding too, actually, probably sounding quite arrogant. I was going to say without sounding too arrogant, but a lot of teams will come to the King Power this year and say if they get anything, it's a bonus, and like look at it as a free hit. What I would say with Middlesbrough is, I would say that they're the worst of the teams that have beaten us this year, because we battered them at their place, hit the post, didn't we? Hit the crossbar through Iheanacho, and it was just a wonder goal that won it for them. So having said that, you've got they beat us from deservedly so on the day, but from a lot of Middlesbrough fans I've seen, they think they've got a bit they're not as good as they were earlier on in the season.
So you think the Middlesbrough fans are saying they've fallen off the pace a little bit since that?
I just think they're really starting to struggle with the lack of players that they have, and the fact that they lost a lot of key men last year and they haven't replaced them. And I think the further into the season they're getting, the more apparent that's becoming.
Yeah, it does seem that way. I mean, they lost a big player. In fact, I think they started the first half of the season. Well, they didn't play the entirety of it, but they started off without a main striker. They'd lost him and they were told they couldn't replace him. Kind of a little bit like Leicester's situation, a little bit in the dark, a little bit told the funds weren't available. They'd have to make it, and it's not easy to do in this division, is it? I know Leicester had the luxury, but also Leicester has to sell. Leicester are in no different position to the Championship, to the rest of the Championship. The only thing we have is we actually had some players that, because they'd been in the Premier League and earned a reputation, they were suddenly worth 30, 40, maybe a little bit more, let's be honest, especially the Maddison deal. Had we stayed up, we definitely would have got more. But it's not Leicester's fault, nor is it their fault that their players aren't being valued as much, because they're young, developing players are getting touted and taken off their hands by the likes of Man City's and Arsenal's, and they're more experienced and better players. They're not being able to fetch as much money as what it is. And as we're seeing with a fair few teams, if you went through the league, if you were asked them why their form's taking a dip, you would say, well, we just don't have the money to reinvest and add into the quality of our team. And I do feel a bit harsh in a little bit of a way for going this strong, but I think Leicester just need to really kind of put that last knife in that chasing pack's back. I want the likes of Southampton and Leeds fans to struggle through a game, and maybe even if they scrape it 1-0 and just look over at the scorecard or whatever, or the TV or on the phone or whatever, and see that Leicester have absolutely blown another opposition away and just feel a little bit more downhearted. No surprise, Leicester channel. All three Leicester fans of results I've got written down went for a Leicester win. Craig and Chris are like the Chuckle brothers of old, because they've both gone to me to you in 2-1. They've both gone 2-1 Leicester wins. I've gone 4-1. And again, this isn't like a Stoke City game where I went 8-0 Leicester, although I was close. It was close. I only went out because I just didn't like them. And it came off the back of the Swansea game with the heat about Maresca Ball. How's that working out for the Moaners? Enzo Ball doing things the Enzo way.
Hold on, I've got to tell you something, Brad. You need to do your Leeds versus Leicester preview early because we play this Friday on the 23rd of February.
Yes, don't worry. We will get that all done. I'm looking forward to that. I think me and Chris are going to work and make sure you all guys, there's been a flood of you in throughout. Make sure you are watching and clicking the like button. I do appreciate it. And subscribing again to both channels. Ant's channel is linking to this one. So make sure you go and show support to both. I mean, I've gone 4-1. Chris has gone 2-1. Craig's gone 2-1. Leicester just continue, make it another win. Keep that record points total in mind.
On my preview, I said 3-0, but I'm going to go with a 3-1 because I do think Middlesbrough will score. But
he's giving him a cheeky goal, folks. I like it. He's going 3-1. I
quite like Middlesbrough. But
yeah, they're not a side I hold any malice to, and I still feel sorry for them about 96, 97 when they got to the. Are they the only club in history to get to both League and FA Cup finals and get relegated and lose the finals? They must be.
There can't be, if there is any others, there can't be many, but went for a night out after, when we played at Middlesbrough earlier this season, just their fans were just like the soundest people going. I suppose, like, generalising a bit here, but they do say that when you go sort of the further up north you go, isn't it meant to be like the sounder people become?
Well, yeah, I mean, the just something about them just seems to be a happy. In breaking news from Ethan there, the West Brom man has just been sent off in the...
I love Carlos Corberán. What a manager.
He is. He's very well respected by West Brom, and there's probably some teams out there that would be looking to take him. I mean, it's a question to ask West Brom fans. Are they worried about potential seconds in the Premier League and someone comes calling? That'd be an interesting.
See, they've got new owners now, haven't they? Apparently, they're going to be very ambitious, but you hear that from every owner that comes into a club, don't you? About we're going to invest heavily and we want to really get this club. I think they use the line of getting this club back to where it belongs. Ironically, I think West Brom is exactly where it belongs at the moment, a top end Championship club.
Well, that's probably there or thereabouts at least. Then, I mean, you've got a picture of the wonderful owner behind you there, and it's funny you say that about owners. They're essentially they're reading the same script, aren't they? We really want to take this club to where they belong and win things. Well, you're all saying crap. You're hoping money will get you. But our owners generally said the same sort of thing, didn't they? They came in here, we got a 5-year plan to get Leicester competing with Europe, competing in European football. And we can't, tongue in cheek, every owner says it. But we actually achieved it, didn't we, in 5 years of him being in charge?
When it was being said, you were, I bet you were similar to me. You were like, here we go again.
Yeah, exactly. I was. And it's kind of ironic, isn't it, that basically what happened there is we accidentally achieved that dream, didn't we? They came in, 5-year plan, get Leicester. Oh, of course, every team wants to be competing for Europe, mate. All right, we'll see what you do. They've been fantastic owners ever since. I remember when a few years ago there was that poll that went up of happiness percentage in fans, and somehow ours wasn't at 100%. That tells you how bad football fans are. That there was like 3.2% of fans, Leicester fans, that weren't happy with our owners. Like, if you can't be happy with our owners, just don't follow football. It's not a sport for you. But our owners, obviously, I know it was probably said off a script for what they expected, but the fact that we're one of the few that maybe achieved that is. But
it's not just that we achieved it; they put stuff in place to achieve it. It wasn't as if it was like, yes, the Premier League was fantastic and stuff, but then following on from that, it's like the investment in the club, the infrastructure, everything like that has meant that they're trying to set foundations, so it's not just a one-off, but it's can be consistently back competing for Europe.
And that's the difference, isn't it? It's easy to read a script, say you want to be there, but you have some owners that do nothing, or you have some owners that have the right idea to do the right intentions to do the right things, but get it all wrong. I mean, look at Everton's board. It's hilarious. I hope they go down. But I mean, I feel sorry for the fans because it's not the fans' fault that the wrong manager was entrusted with money. They should never have given Ronald Koeman a bloody. They shouldn't have paid for his taxi, let alone pay for his transfers that he wanted. I mean, he basically went to his old club Ajax, and I mean, Klassen, what a false name that was. He definitely wasn't Class, was he? The players he signed for him. So sometimes it'll get you there and thereabouts, but our owners really did do it wanted. That's why I wanted to point that out because I obviously got a picture of him in the background, and this one's continued that trait. But there we go, folks. That is that's the Friday night and all of the Saturday night games. None of these go on to a Sunday. We do, however, hold your horses before all of it. I can see you're ready to click off this video. Don't you dare. You stay right where you are because we do have 4 games to quickly run over that we're playing the midweek. In the midweeks, catch-up games in hand. You've got Cardiff at home to Blackburn. You've got Ipswich at home at Rotherham. Plymouth take on the might of West Brom at home, and Southampton play their game in hand, which is against Hull City. Well, we could discuss these in great detail, but we don't know the outcome of the. It's kind of like a double midweek in a way, but this is obviously not a full fixture list of it. So at least when we make these predictions, we already know what's happened the week before or what's happened the last couple of weeks. So it's a bit easy to kind of talk about it and get a feel for it. With these, you can't really do that. So I'm going to read out everybody else's predictions, and then you could just give me yours, mate. Starting, obviously, with Cardiff versus Blackburn. I've gone 1-0 Blackburn. Craig has gone 1-1. And Chris has gone for a ball on ITV4. He's gone 0-0. What are you predicting, Anne? And don't say a riot.
I predict a riot.
Going on, Matty Fryer. I predict a riot. I love them days.
1-0 Cardiff.
1-0 Cardiff. Ooh, he's got the full house in there. He's got 1-0 Cardiff. God, do you remember them days? Bit of Chelsea dagger and I predict to fry it. God, they were days. That's the atmosphere we're missing apparently out of King Power these days from our League One atmosphere. Ipswich at home to Rotherham. Struggling at the bottom, struggling to stay up with the top lot. It's the Tractors versus, the Chuckle Brothers. I've gone 2-0 Ipswich. Craig's gone 2-1 Ipswich. Chris has gone for a huge 4-0 win to Ipswich. Let's see there. Cardiff 1, Blackburn 1. So Ethan's gone, and Scott's gone 3-1 Cardiff. I mean, Ipswich, Rotherham. What are you predicting?
5-0 Ipswich.
Oh, you horrible! Oh, you really do not like Rotherham, do you? That. You're like me with Stoke. I love to see the passion of hatred in there. Venky Chickens, 0-0 against Cardiff. Is Ronald's gone there. The penultimate game we're going to discuss. It's the Green Army, the traitorous turncoat Schumacher. Manages them against West Brom. I've gone 2-1 West Brom. Craig's gone 1-0. Chris has gone 2-1. I mean, what are you going scoreline? I know Plymouth better at home, but where are you seeing it?
Desmond 2-2.
Way Desmond, we need a Desmond button. We do. I need to have a word with Chris, get a Desmond button just so I can be like, build up some suspense when someone says someone goes for a Desmond. Scott's gone pretty well. He's been a little bit kinder than you have, but he's gone certainly brutal. He's gone 4-0 Ipswich, and Ethan's been a little bit kinder to Rotherham. He's actually gave them a goal. And now we're here, the final fixture. I can't sing, so I'm sorry. Southampton's game in hand. They're obviously playing right now, which will put them level on games at once. Say that. It's 1-0 Southampton. Oh no, our 11-point lead, says True Ethan. I don't think it will stay that way. I'd be very surprised if it ended up 1-0. I'd be more annoyed because I wouldn't get any points. But Southampton play their game in hand in the midweek. They're at home to Hull City. I mean, surely you're going to complete the set here. Take care, Nate. And he says, and Ant there, but he did say take care to me because I'm his favourite. I mean, Scott's gone Plymouth there, 2-1 West Brom. Southampton versus Hull. I've gone 3-0. Craig's gone 3-1, and Chris has gone 3-0. All three of them predictions are for a Southampton win. You're making it a fourth. How many goals is Southampton winning by? Or
yeah, go 3-1 Southampton.
Oh, you like Craig, don't you? You like copying Craig's homework. He had one of the worst weeks out of everybody. Maybe you should start copying mine or Chris's homework. That's what I'm saying.
That just means eventually he's got to have a good week, doesn't it?
You think that? You think? Look, no spoilers, no revealings of how the last few weeks have gone. But I like your logic. It's just flawed in that particular person to use for. If anything, don't back my predictions because I've been doing so well recently that you'd probably get me on a bad week and get like 2 points.
So is it if I copy anyone, copy Doug, is what I'm hearing?
Well, you would say that because, like I said, I'm a connoisseur to getting maximum points myself. He got 23 points. 5 of them he got spot on, which is what did him so well. I got more results in the correct vicinity because I only got 4 correct results in terms of getting them bang on, but I also got 23 points. So if I can beat Doug, if I can get the same as Doug, anything's possible. Callum says there, tell him why I didn't do a prediction tonight because he's here. Long and short of it, Callum, he's here. That's why. Trudy's gone 3-0 Southampton. Wow, Scott. I mean, the joys of not having the pressures of being humiliated by a prediction league table. Scott has gone 3-2 Hull, and now will remind me forever if they win this game. Ronald's just Plymouth 0. That's it. There's no goals for West Brom. There's not even a complimentary 0. It's just Plymouth 0, West Brom. That's it. That's it. That's where Rotherham is at. Where Ronald is at. And as I close this book on another chapter. Oh, forget it, Brad. Just shut up. You're not funny. Stop trying to make jokes. I was going to say it was another closing a chapter on another week's of fixtures, but I realised that makes about as much sense as I do, which is none. So I shall shut up. I shall leave you people alone so you don't have to suffer with my awful attempts at punditry and trying to be funny. Thank you, everybody that has joined in the show tonight. Obviously, do make sure on your way out that you are hitting the like button, so checking, making sure you are subscribed, not just to our channel, but to Ant's. I'll get it right. I'll figure out how mirror copying works. Ant's channel as well, because in case you know, he's broadcasting there as well. So make sure you kind of swap exchanging. If you're coming from Ant's channel over here, hit subscribe here, and vice versa if you're here going over there. I've been Brad. I got it right. This has been
and
this has been LTRD TV Predictions Week. And as I am ever professional and never, ever, ever, ever lose my way to the point which I delay my outro till I find the right one to press. If I don't see you tomorrow, we will see you next week. And as always, come on, you foxes. Good night, everybody.
Thanks for watching. These videos are tremendous. You better like them too, or I'll be back.
The TalkSport Fan Network is the ultimate on-demand destination for the UK's best fan-led football podcasts,
including Leicester Till I Die, independent analysis and reaction for the Foxes faithful.
The TalkSport Fan Network.
Unbeatable club-dedicated content created by the fans, for the fans.
Follow the podcast on the TalkSport Fan Network.